January 1st marked the official first day of my training to get ready for IRONMAN Wales in September. So in this video, I'll be going through my first week's worth of training, showing you each session and explaining how I found it. So if you watch some of my recent videos, you'll know I built an excellent base level of fitness from the beginning of around October to Christmas as part of the Send It squad. And then completing the festive 500 over the Christmas break really helped build up some good mileage in the legs, so I felt like I was in a really good position to start my new TrainerRoad full distance triathlon plan on the 1st of January. After a bit of thought, I settled on the low volume plan to start with, and then I'll adjust it if I feel it's needed. I think it'll be easier to add in additional endurance sessions then potentially have to drop some of the key sessions because I'm finding the volume or the intensity to be too much. Although the TrainerRoad plans have you do 3 swims throughout the week, at the moment I'm going to stick with just doing 2. You may remember me saying how I haven't really been enjoying my swimming much recently, and plus I want to focus more on the bike and the run, as that's where I feel the biggest gains can be made. I've always seen myself as a half decent swimmer, even when I was quite young, and so I don't feel like I need to invest as much time into it, and would rather spend that time instead improving on the bike and the run. So looking at a typical week on the plan, I have 3 swims, of which I'll do 2 of them, 3 bike sessions and 3 to 4 runs. That 4th run tends to be a brick session, which is pretty short, so bike volume firmly remains higher than both the swim and the run. I will be commuting to work on the bike 2 to 3 days a week as well, so that will more than make up for that missed swim session. If I want to, I'll add another session or 2 in, but I'll make sure they are kept at a low intensity. Day 1, the 1st of January, started off with a 50-minute base run, which was a nice way to start the new year. It was also my first time using the Shox Open Run bone conducting headphones, so keep an eye out for a review on them very shortly once I've done a bit more testing. New Year's Day also marked the first day in which I'll start weighing myself regularly again. I stopped around November for whatever reason, but I knew that I wanted to start up again once Christmas was over and done with. I weighed 100 grams less on the 1st of January than I did back in November, which was a massive surprise considering how much I ate over Christmas. Had I not done the festive 500, I would almost certainly have been close to, if not above, 100 kilos. My starting weight for the year ended up being around 97.8 kilos. Now for context, I'm 29 years old and 6'5", so do have a good frame to fill out. On day 2, I ended up doing a double session, starting with high tempo intervals on TrainerRoad and then a 35-minute run later in the afternoon. The run was mainly base, but with 8 30-second strides thrown in throughout. Rather than doing them randomly throughout the run, I decided to run somewhere, do them all one after the other with 60 seconds of recovery in between, and then run back home. Day 3 had me do another TrainerRoad bike session, which was similar to the previous day's session. Normally I would prefer to do it in the morning before going to work, but for some reason I did it when I got home instead. I think at this point the whole household was starting to come down with a bit of a cold, and I woke up not feeling quite 100%, so didn't feel like doing it first thing. I was planning to commute into work on this day as well, but if I remember rightly, the weather was awful, so doing that wouldn't have helped the potential cold. Day 4 and 5 ended up being complete rest days, which is really unusual for me. I tend to prefer to spread my sessions across the 7 days in the week, and even if I were to have a single rest day, I'd usually get back onto it the following day. Again, this was down to not feeling 100%. On the Thursday, I was planning on going for a swim in the morning, but when I woke up in the middle of the night, which again is unusual, with a sore throat and feeling snotty, I thought better of it. Rather than fighting through and potentially make myself feel worse, I felt it was best to just skip the session completely. The next day I was feeling better and well enough to start training again. The session on the plan was a 40-minute base run with no efforts or anything like that thrown in, so it ended up being nice and cruisy. Annoyingly, the inside of my left foot has started rubbing all of a sudden, despite not changing anything, and it doesn't seem to matter which pair of shoes that I wear. Both my Hoka Mach 4s and Saucony Endorphin Speed 2s have plenty of life left in them, and I've worn them loads in the past with no issues, so I have no idea why they've suddenly started to rub. If you have any ideas on why and how to stop it, please do let me know in the comments down below. On the Saturday, I had my first brick session of the year, and the first in a very long time. The bike session was an hour and 15 minutes long with 6 sweet spot intervals throughout. It felt okay and was definitely manageable, but certainly harder than the other 2 sessions earlier in the week. After the bike, I quickly changed my shoes and jumped straight onto the treadmill for a very brief 10-minute run on Zwift. I didn't really have jelly legs from what I can remember, but to be honest, that's never really been a problem for me, even when I first started training for triathlon. In fact, I've found some of my best runs to actually be straight off the bike. Now this particular session was the first treadmill run where I wore my new Stride foot pod, so make sure to subscribe for a few videos on that coming very soon. The final day of the week, Sunday, had me do a 50-minute base run, again with no efforts. This was the first outside run where I wore the Stride, so getting a power reading for my run was quite interesting and something I'll be doing a bit of research into. There was a swim scheduled in as well, but I decided not to do that one and start the next week fresh with both swimming and commuting to and from work. Weight-wise, I ended up being 95.5 kilos on Sunday morning, so a really nice drop throughout the week. So the training week was definitely shorter in terms of hours compared to December, but that's not really necessarily a bad thing considering how much I have been doing recently, and it was a nice way just to ease back into the new training plan. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to check out the one on screen where I'll take you through the entire week of the Festive 500, where I end up cycling 500 kilometers in just 7 days. Please also drop the video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell so you know when I upload another video, as I plan on doing these training recap videos each week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.